Hello friends, this is Aarti Garnuke, Assistant Professor in Civil Engineering Department at Tulsiramji Gaikwad Patil College of Engineering and Technology, Nagpur, accredited with NAC A+ grade. Again, I welcome you all in the next lecture of building, construction and material. So basically in this lecture we are going to discuss about the brickwork. So let's start. So basically first is the masonry. Masonry refers to anything constructed by mason using material such as stone, brick, tiles and so on. So basically in the civil engineering, this term is extended to mean building using various blocks like stone, brick, concrete blocks, reinforced brick, composite material, etc. So the National Building Code specified that the compressive strength of the building block should not be more than 3.5 Newton per mm square. So basically we will go in a detail in the next lecture where we discuss about the stone masonry. So the masonry may be defined as the construction of a building units bonded to the other with the mortar. So it depending on the types of units used. So basically masonry classified into two categories: stone masonry and brick masonry. So these are the some important terms which is used in the masonry. So a brick laid with its length horizontal and parallel with this face of the wall or other masonry membrane is called as the stretcher, and a course in which all the bricks are laid as a stretch is called as stretching course or stretcher course. Next is the header. So basically header is the brick laid so that the only its end shows on the face of a wall is known as the header, and a course in which the all bricks are laid as a header is known as the heading course or header course, as you can see in the figure also. So basically a number of terms are used in the context of the brick masonry. This needs to be understood before studying the topic in a detail. So these are the some terms which is used in the masonry. So first is the stretcher. So basically the stretcher is a brick with its longer face 190 by 90 mm in the direction of the wall as shown in the figure. If a course contain only stretches, then it's called as a stretcher course. Next is the header. A brick is called header if its shorter face 90 by 90 mm is seen on the face of the wall as shown in figure. So a course containing only header is known as the header course, as you can see in the figure also. So next is the arise. The edge formed by the intersection of the plane surface of a brick are called the arise, and they should be sharp, square and free from damage. So next is the bed. So basically it is the lower portion of the brick, that is 190 by 90 mm with the laid flat. Next is the bend joint. It is the horizontal layer of a mortar over which brick are laid. Then perpends. So basically it is an imaginary line passing through the vertical joints in the alternate course. I will show you in the figure also. So next is the bond. So bond is the arrangement of the brick or a stone in each course so as to ensure the greatest possible interlocking and to avoid the community of a vertical joints in the two successive courses. So both the face and in the body of the wall. Next is the course. So course is the each horizontal layer of a brick laid in the mortar in a brickwork is called as the course. Next is the brick bat. So the brick bat, it is the portion of a brick cut across the width. The length of the brick bat may be half of or 3/4 of the original length. Then queen closer. So the width of the queen closer is half that of the original brick width. It is known as the queen closer half. It is if this is the cut into half its length, it is. So the next is the king closer. So basically it is the brick in which the corner is cut. So to get half header, So the next is king closer. So it is the brick in which the corner is cut so as to get half header and half stretcher adjacent faces. So I will show you the figure also. Next is the beveled closer. So basically this is obtained by cutting. So next is the beveled closer. So this is obtained by the cutting a triangular portion of half the width but of the full length. So this is known as the beveled closer. Next is the bullnose. A brick with the rounded corner is called as the bullnose brick. So basically these are the figures of a queen closer, king closer, beveled closer and bullnose. After that, next is the frog. So frog brick shall have a depression in one or more bed faces, but their total volume shall not be exceed 20% of the gross value of a brick. So basically, as we know, this is the brick masonry. So bricklaying is an art that only a well-trained mason can do satisfactorily. The bricklaying techniques involve ensuring a good bond as well as uniform horizontal and vertical joints. The procedure of bricklaying involve spreading mortar on the foundation, laying the first course corner, then laying the second course of corner, then laying the other courses, then construction in between portion. So basically these are the steps. So these are the types of bond: stretching bond, heading bond, English bond, Flemish bond, then double Flemish bond, then single Flemish bond, then Flemish garden wall bond, then Flemish garden wall bond, then racking bond, in this herringbone bond and diagonal bond and Dutch bond. So we will discuss it one by one. So as we know, various types of bonds are generally used in a brick masonry. So first is the stretcher bond. So basically in this type of bond, all bricks are arranged in a stretcher course as shown in the figure also. However, care is taken to break vertical joints by using half brick bat. So this type of construction used for a partition wall that are half brick thick. Next is the header bond. So basically in such construction, all bricks are arranged in a header courses as shown in the figure also. So this type of bond is useful for the construction of one brick thick wall. Then English bond. So as you can see in the figure also, this is the English bond. So basically in this type of bond, alternate courses consist of a header and stretcher. This is the strongest bond and is thus commonly used for walls of all thickness. To break the community of a vertical joints, a queen closer is used at a beginning and end of the wall after the first header, as you can see in the figure also. So the figure shows that the typical one brick and 1.5 brick wall with the English bond. So next is the Flemish bond. So basically in this each course compares alternate header and stretcher. As you can see in the figure, alternate courses start with the stretcher and header. To break the vertical joints, queen closer are used if the course start with the header. Every header is centrally supported on the stretcher or below it. So basically Flemish bond has classified into two types, double Flemish bond and single Flemish bond. So in case of the double Flemish bond, both faces of a wall have a Flemish look, that is each course consists of an alternate header and stretcher. So if we are talking about the disadvantage of the single Flemish So these are the some special feature of double Flemish bond. So every course consists of a header and stretcher placed alternatively. The facing and backing of the wall in each course have the some appearance. Then the in wall having a thickness equal to odd multiple of the bricks, then required a header and stretcher will come out as a header or a stretcher on the same course in front of as well as the back faces. So basically this is the double Flemish bond. So basically construction of the Flemish bond needs a great skill. It gave a good appearance, but it is not strong as a English bond. Flemish bond may be used to get a good aesthetic look if only pointing is to be used for a finished wall. Next is the single Flemish bond. So the disadvantage of the single Flemish bond are that it cannot be used for a wall of a thickness less than 1.5 brick, and its some portion long vertical joints are unavoidable. So the bond provided in a wall with the Flemish bond in facing and English in backing is called as single Flemish bond or a cross bond. So this bond combines the advantage of the English bond and Flemish bond and simultaneously eliminates their disadvantages also. So single Flemish bond is comprised of a double Flemish bond facing and English bond backing and hearting each other course. So this bond thus uses the strength of a English bond and appearance of the Flemish bond. However, this bond can be used for those wall having a thickness less than or equal to 1.5 brick, as we already discussed about it. So the double Flemish bond facing is done and good quality expensive brick. However, the cheaper brick can be used for the backing and hearting. So the difference between English bond and Flemish bond. So the double if it is if we are comparison between the English and Flemish bond, so basically the Flemish bond have some advantages like it has a better appearance on the face. It is easy to maintain the correct breaking of the joints in this bond, as a number of joint is a consecutive course are same. A large number of bricks bats can be used. In English bond we can say that it is the stronger for walls thicker than 1.5 bricks, since it used larger number of header. Next it is the stronger, of course English bond is the strongest of all the bond. Flemish bond, it is less strong of walls having a thickness more than 13.5 inch. It provides the rough appearance especially for 1 brick thick walls in the English bond, and in Flemish bond it provide good appearance for all the thickness of wall. So these are the some differences of the English and Flemish bond. Then next is the garden wall bond. So basically this type of bond is used for the construction of a compound wall which are usually 1 brick thick. So the garden wall bond can be English or Flemish type. So basically it is divided into two types, English garden wall bond and Flemish garden wall bond. So this is the figure of the English bond of garden wall. So basically English garden wall bond consists of 1 course of header after 3 or 5 course of the stretcher. To break the vertical joints, a queen closer is placed next to the queen header. The middle course of the stretcher is started with the header, as you can see in the figure. Also it shows as a English garden wall bond construction. Next is the Flemish garden wall bond. So as you can see in the figure, the elevation of the Flemish garden wall bond. In this type of bond, each course compress 1 header after 3 to 5 stretcher, it needs 3/4 bat at every alternate course to break vertical joints. A header should be laid centrally over each middle stretcher is lower course. So after that, next is the racking bond. So basically it is a very thick walls have a fewer stretcher and more header, which reduce the longitudinal stiffness of the wall. To overcome this defect, racking bonds are used. Racking courses are to be used at a certain interval along the height of the wall. The racking bond is of the following two types. First is the herring wall bond, and another one is the diagonal bond. So basically, in the herring bond, this type of bond is provided at every 6th and 8th course if the thickness of wall is more than 4 bricks. So the bricks are laid at an angle of 45 degree, as you can as you can see in the figure also. Next is the diagonal bond. So as you can see in the figure, the plan of the artificial or diagonal racking bond, internal placing of the brick is at a bottom certain angle. The bricks needs to be cut into triangular shape to pack small triangular spaces. At the end, diagonal bond are provided every 5th and 7th course of the wall. So after that, next bond is the Dutch bond. So basically the alternate courses in this type of bond are header and stretcher, as in case of the English bond. The difference is in this use of 3/4 bat is stretcher course as a coin. A header is placed next to the 3/4 bat in every alternate stretcher, as you can see in the figure also. So this is the stone masonry. So in case in the stone masonry, there are two main types of the stone masonry. First is the rubble masonry and ashlar masonry. So basically, in ashlar masonry consists of a prepared stonework, that is a stone dress or cut in irregular shape. The stone are usually laid in the parallel course. On other hand, masonry using irregular shaped stone in is known as the rubble masonry. So let us discuss it one by one. So if we are talking about the differences of the rubble masonry and ashlar masonry, so basically these are the there are some differences in this. So basically this type of masonry uses stone of a irregular shape and size. They may be hammered to remove sharp edges. So basically there are some types of the rubber masonry also, like dry rubber masonry, random rubber masonry, square rubber masonry, and the miscellaneous. So the strength of the rubber masonry is depend on the quality of the mortar, the use of the long through stone, the proper filling of mortar between the spaces of stone. So in the coarse rubble masonry, so basically in this type a wall are built in a coarse but without mortar. This type of masonry is extensively used for the construction of a compound wall. To make it more suitable, two cores of about 0.54 length at the end are sometimes built with the mortar at the top. So it is the cheapest type of the construction but needs a skilled mason. So it course random rubble masonry. The masonry work is carried out in a course such that the stone in the particular course are equal height. Basically it is used in the residential construction or a commercial construction. Next is the uncoursed rubble masonry. So basically in this type work quarry dressed so in this type of work quarry dress stone of various shapes and size are used. It is necessary to use a long through the stone at frequent intervals. So we have to take care taken to break the long vertical joints. So basically the random rubble masonry may be coarse or uncoarse. So basically in coarse rubble masonry, all the wall built in the course varying from the 300 to 450 mm. All courses need to be the same height. The uncoarse rubble masonry is used as a cheapest stone masonry. So in this type of masonry, stone having a straight bed and sides are used. The stone are usually squared and brought to hammer dress or straight cut finish. It is a coarse square rubble masonry. The work is carried out in the course of a very fine depth. So next is the poly rubble masonry. So basically it is the type of miscellaneous masonry, miscellaneous type. In case of the polygonal walling hammer, finished stone are arranged to give a polygonal shapes of the face. Such work can be carried out by the skilled mason. Then next is the flint walling. So basically in the flint walling, flints of a varying thickness from 70 to 50 mm and length 150 to 300 mm are used. The stone are extremely hard but brittle. The strength of the wall may be increased by providing tacking course of the bricks or tiles. In this case also, the construction may be coursed or uncoursed. Then the next is the dry rubble masonry. So basically in this type of masonry, wall are built in course but without mortar, as we already discussed. So this type of masonry is extensively used for construction of a compound wall. To make it more suitable to courses of about 0.54 meter length at the end are sometimes built with the mortar at the top. It is the cheapest type of the construction but need a skilled mason, as we already discussed about it. Then next is the ashlar masonry. So basically this type of masonry, stone are cut nearly in a irregular shape. The height of the stone is 250 to 300 mm. The square or rectangular in a shape. All stone in a course have the same height, but the height need not be same for all courses. The length of stone should not be more than 3 times the height, and it should not be less than the half of the height. So basically it having some types of the ashlar masonry. So basically ashlar masonry having types like ashlar fine tool, ashlar rough tool, ashlar rock and quarry face, ashlar charm, then ashlar block in course, then ashlar facing. So let us discuss it. So first is the ashlar fine masonry. So basically in this type of masonry, block are chiseled rest all the faces. They are built in a regular course of not less than 300 mm. The mortar joints don't exceed 3 mm. This is the finest type of the stone masonry, are also the costliest. So as you can see in the figure, the elevation of the typical ashlar fine tool masonry. Next is the ashlar rough tool masonry. So in this case, the bed and the sides are fine chased. On the facing side, only a strip of 25 mm wide around the perimeter in the chisel finished. The inside facing remains rough dressed. The thickness of the mortar joint may be up to 6 mm. You can see in the figure also. So next is the rock and quarry face masonry. So in this case, block have a straight base and edges. On the facing on the facing side, a strip of a 25 mm in a chisel finished along the perimeter, but the interior of the face remains quarry finished only. However, large projection exceeding 80 mm are removed by hammering. The thickness of mortar joints may be up to 10 mm. Then ashlar chamfered masonry. So basically, as you can see in the figure, the typical ashlar chamfer type construction. In this type of facing, the strip around the periphery is chamfered at the chamfered at the angle of the 45 degrees. Then the another strip of 12 width is provided. The interior remains squarely finished only. However, if the projection are more than 80 they are removed by hammering. Then ashlar block in the coarse masonry. So basically this type is intermediate between the rubble and ashlar masonry. The height of the block in each course is same, but it need not to be the same in all courses. The height in which course may be vary from 150 to 300 The faces are hammer dressed only. The vertical joints are not as straight and fine as in the other ashlar masonry. This type of construction is adopted in the heavy works like in retaining wall, pier of the bridge, and etc. As you can see in the figure also. Then the next is the ashlar facing masonry. So basically in this case, the main wall is brick of or rubble masonry, or even of the concrete only. Ashlar faces are provided in the you can see in the figure also. The facing of the blocks are not less than 200 in height, the width being 155 times the height. Headers are provided at the regular interval, the width of the header being more than the width of the other courses by 400 The bed joint of the stone are depressed perfectly, as you can see in the figure also. So the comparison between the brick masonry and the stone masonry. So first is the stone is the stronger and more durable than the brick, and for a public building it is decidedly more suitable than brick. It reflects the strength in every inch of it. It is the tune with the nature. Its color improves and looks more with the age. On the other hand, brick is artificially a product made as a copy of the stone. It is the flimsy material, and plastering is only for its defects. Then the next is the stone is waterproof. On the other hand, bricks absorb moisture with the dampness. Certain salts rise in the wall from the other ground and the cause distinction of the bricks. Especially brick should not be allowed to come in contact with the urine or a sewage, and in such a place it must always be covered with the cement, plaster, or any other protective coat. So next is the brick offers greater facility for ornamental work in plaster, as a rough shape can be first be given to it mean by of any tool. This is not in case of the stone. Plaster does not stick so well so stones as it does not brick. So on the account of the regular shape and uniform size of the brick, a proper bond can be obtained with the comparative case. So due to handy size of the brick masonry can be more rapidly constructed than the stone masonry. Brick wall requires a fixed quantities of a mortar, and even with the careless mason, the regular shape of the brick considerably reduce the possibility of hollow being left in the body of the wall. So this is not so some of stone wall. So basically stone was the first building block used by humans, followed by brick. Then brick masonry has been found in the ancient ruin of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, dating back to the around 2500 BC. Today brick are the most commonly used material for the building wall. The main reason of the popularity of the brick is that the clay from which the bricks are made, and it is easily available and easy to handle also. So this is all about the brickwork. So next lecture we will discuss further more about it. So see you soon in next lecture. Thank you.